Hi, this is Dee, and you're listening to my podcast, Let Me Clear My Throat. Tonight's episode, we're going to do it on self-worth versus self-esteem and understanding the differences between the two, or trying to decide, and I guess and debate in our own opinions if they are in fact one of the same, just maybe worded different, or maybe they might intertwine each other, some way to speak. So anyway, I took this off of choosingtherapy.com. It's called Self-Worth versus Self-Esteem, Understanding the Differences. It was published on September 29th, 2023, and the author is... hopefully I don't butcher these names, Haley Schaefer, and the medical reviewer was Rajy, R-A-J-Y, Abulhossan. I'm just going to spell it. I feel bad already. A-B-U-L-H-O-S-N. Abulhossan. Abulhossan. Sounds good to me. Anyway, he was a medical reviewer. So I have not read through this at all. And usually I skim through them or might touch base on them. And honestly, I really did not do much of that at all. So we are going to really be doing this together. And if you are like me, you struggle a lot with not only your self-esteem, but your self-worth. Thinking... I've spent most of my life just feeling very low self-esteem. I've been through a lot of drama. I've been through a lot of bullies and insults and abuse, and the list goes on and on. And obviously it has really deteriorated and tore my self-esteem to very, very slithers. Excuse me. And I've also have struggled with my self-worth. And I personally feel like they go together. Because a lot of times your self-esteem is based off of the way you feel. Obviously, but so does self-worth. And people can degrade you and make you feel less of a person, per se, and mess with your self-esteem, but then it also makes you feel like you're worthless. So to me, they're kind of the same, and they intertwine each other, but yet we're going to find out what the differences of them are. And then you can decide for yourself on how you want to perceive it. And there's no right or wrong, because with everything in life, just because, my opinion, just because somebody thinks something should be said, done, heard, be, look, whatever, a certain way, and just because it's written or published or spoken or whatever, does not mean that it needs to be your opinion too. That is where the whole freedom of speech comes in, but it also comes in with you are an individual person. You are a person that has every right to your feelings, every right to your opinion, every right to being a human being, every right to being yourself. You should not have to apologize for being yourself. Because just because somebody doesn't understand you, just because somebody doesn't like you, just because somebody has an opinion about you, doesn't mean that it's true. It doesn't mean that it shouldn't matter. It doesn't mean that they are not looking at their own reflection, or they are just not copying what mimics society's opinion. Who sits around and who has the right to sit around and say, this is the way it's supposed to be, and if nobody thinks of it this way, then they are wrong. Excuse me. Everybody is entitled to their own perception. And that is a lot of, my opinion, a lot of the problem that we have in America and in life, actually, because we are so used to being dictated, manipulated, and stereotyped by society and rest of humanity that it has become acceptable to be negative. It has become acceptable to want drama. It has become acceptable to be stimulated by drama. Where does the good come in at that? Where does the good come in on somebody being so excited to hear about something that was dramatic or terrible? How is that okay? There's something devastating that happens. Maybe it's like, tell me, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like all the negativity. Oh, so-and-so did this and this and this, and now they're on this, this and this, and blah, 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 blah. Okay. Good for you. You only wanted to hear the bad things. Do you want to hear anything good? Because I'm the type of person, I believe there is always something good in even the most horrific things in life. And I know this firsthand. And I spoke about it several times in my other podcasts. And I feel like, and this is my opinion, and you are entitled to not agree with me. And that is your right. As a human being, as a person, as an individual, as you have every bit and right to disagree with 100% of anything I say. And I, out of respect, and this is me, out of respect for you as an individual, I respect your opinion. There is a right way and a wrong way to give someone's opinion, and I say, respectful criticism or respectful suggestions, or, it doesn't even why does it have to be criticism? Why can't it be respectful resource? Why does it have to sound negative? Well, they're over there criticizing me. Are they criticizing you? Do we want to use this negative word? And maybe they are. Or maybe they're trying to help you. They might be, and like I said, it's a right way and a wrong to do it. It's all about playing with words, all about the way you perceive things, all the way that you, your voice tone, your body language, the way you say it, if it's out of emotion, if it's out of sincerity, and it's so hard to tell sometimes. Some people might 100% be joking, and somebody else, it just crushed them. Because maybe they are so sensitive because they have every right to be sensitive for whatever reason they have gone through things that they have gone through. But as a person on the outside of that, you do not know this. So then your opinion is now an opinion of your input without seeing the other sides of everybody else's, if that makes sense. I'm the type of person, at least I try to be, and sometimes this is my strength and my weakness. I try to look around the sides of everybody. I'm one of those people, and I have even been told by my own daughter, actually, because she'll be like, so-and-so, cut me off on the road, blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, maybe there's something's on their mind. Maybe they're having problems with their car. She's like, why can't you just say, Mom, it's because they're being an asshole? Why do you always have to find the good in everybody? Because I do. And I'm not saying there's not bad, because I know there are. And even people that have done me a great deal of harm and pain and sadness and vindictiveness and whatever word you want to throw in there, I still always try to find the silver lining. I always try to find the justification, I guess, if you will. And some people say, oh, they got an excuse for everything. Do they have an excuse or do they have a reason? Which word do you want to use? Which one sounds better for you? Excuse or reason? I don't know. I guess it depends. An excuse is a reason, and a reason is an excuse. But because it's an excuse, therefore, in my opinion, it sounds like something negative. Well, you got an excuse for everything, don't you? Well, you got a reason for everything, don't you? If you word it that way, it sounds very harsh. But he would say something like, yeah, they had a reason. Or maybe they had a reason. Okay, sensitivity right there. Maybe they had a reason. Maybe something's going on. Or maybe they have an excuse. Maybe there's an excuse for it. sensitivity. You go to school, you're absent, you're sick. Okay, well, I have an excuse. I was sick, I went to the doctor, I have an excuse. That's my reason. But yes, yet it's an excuse. Okay. But, or at work. At work, you're looking like you. If you are out, I say this. They tell you not to come to work sick because nobody wants to get sick. But if you call in work sick, or you go home sick, you feel so guilty. And I'm saying this from experience. In my opinion, you are made to feel so guilty. I literally, excuse me, I literally had this job one time, and I had pneumonia. I was off work for a few days, and then I went to the hospital, and I had pneumonia. Well, because the job that I worked at went by the point system, excuse me, my throat is like, ugh. It went by the point system. So because the points were there, and I had missed 3 days already before I went to the hospital, and the hospital would not back up and excuse me for those 3 days I was out. I could only do from the time thereof. Okay? So then I accumulated 3 points for 3 days. And any days after the excuse were tied into one because it was one excuse. So then there were 4 excuses, or 4 absences right there. Only one of them was excused because I had a note. But because I had pneumonia and I had already maxed out my points, I had to go to work with pneumonia. I had to go to work with pneumonia. And I worked around people. Like, I was in contact with people. I was in security. I had contact with people. And I had to go to work. And I felt so terrible walking around with, obviously, with pneumonia. I was going to get fired because I had met my points. My boss actually filled out a form for a variance in order to count all of my absences as one and not point me for 4 individual days, just 1 day. And it saved my job. And it's like, okay, I had an excuse. I had pneumonia, but I still was going to get reprimanded because I had a valid excuse. I had pneumonia. But because they had a certain regulation and criteria that they met as a company, it was going to cost me my job. But then they had a little loophole in it to where my boss, who was head of security, could do a variance and save my job. So it was a fine line. Was it an excuse? Was it a reason? Kind of like with self-worth and self-esteem. Is it your self-worth? Is it your self-esteem? It's a matter of how you want to look at it. But more importantly, I feel it's not so much as how you look at it or how it's presented or how you present it. It's how it makes you feel. And if you have no empathy or understanding to look beyond your own self, and I say that with respect to a point, you're not going to care about the feelings of the other person. You're going to care about your own most of the time. But then again, maybe not. Maybe you're not that way. I care more about other people's feelings than my own, and I'm working on that. Because this has been my problem. My self-esteem and my self-worth have been so blurred in society's mirror that it has cost me my own reflection. And this article that I'm going to go through with you, I need it just as much as what I feel everybody else does. And this is where I'm at with it. Now, I could be wrong, and I apologize if I am. But I personally believe that we all struggle in some way, shape, or form, our self-worth and our self-esteem. Even if it's just the tiniest thing. You can have somebody that is, to society, deemed as perfect. But I guarantee, well, I say guarantee, and I'm going to use that. I guarantee that person, let me rephrase that. I speculate that that person that is supposedly perfect to society's eyes sees many flaws in themselves. Because they know every single outlet and inlet and curve and imperfection and scars and this, that, and the other that nobody else knows, sees, understands, or can relate to, or whatever word you want to use. But then I have to ask, society sees this person as perfect. Who had a meeting and grouped society into this one meeting and said, this is society. This is our meeting. This is what we believe. I wasn't a part of that meeting. I wasn't a part of that discussion. I'm part of society. Maybe I don't agree. Because there is nothing, my opinion, there is nothing in this world that is perfect. Nothing. There is a flaw in everything, even if it's duplicated. Why? Because we're made to believe that it's flawed. Everything that is made, everything that is created, everything that exists is perfect. Perfect for what it is. Perfect for who they are. Perfect for what they represent. Does society deem that it's perfect? Who gives a shit? Is society perfect? I don't know. Let's ask society and see. Do they have an excuse or do they have a reason for wanting to be opinionated in negativity? There should be no reason why it's accepted for people to be made to feel like they are fat, that they are ugly, that they are short, that they are tall, that they are unacceptable, that their hair looks bad, their makeup is not right. Oh, you're doing that all wrong. Says who? Says you? If that person feels good about themselves, who the hell are you to tell them different? I don't care if their butt sits on the bed and you got a queen-size bed and they sit down in the middle and their butt hangs off each side of it. Who are you to tell them they're not beautiful? Because your butt can sit on somebody's pinky? I mean, why are you better? Says who? The meeting that you were a part of in society? That is what's wrong with this world. I sat here earlier and I'm like, you know, I was playing, I've been playing some music. And I started playing my mom's Casio. It's an electric keyboard or whatever. And it relaxes me. And I can be, I guess, just creative on it and whatever. I don't know how to play it. I know how to read music because I took keyboarding class, and I had the old good recorder, play Mary Had a Little Lamb, and Three Blind Mice. But if I sat down and actually took the time to read the notes on the paper and whatever and did it and practice and whatever, I'd be probably more efficient. But I'm to the point where I feel like I do better if I don't even watch myself play. So I close my eyes when I play. And I feel like I play better because I feel the music. And I've talked about this before in my other podcasts. My family is a very musically inclined family. My mom, my dad, my uncle, my, excuse me, my grandmother, people are obviously very musically inclined in my family. I grew up with my mom writing and singing songs, playing instruments. My uncle, my dad was from West Virginia. Well, he's my stepdad, but he was my dad. From West Virginia, and that man could pick. I loved listening to him pick. But I was more of, I love to dance. And my mom used to say, "Why are you musically inclined?" And I'm like, "I am. I dance. And that's music. You got to feel the beat, you know?" But anyway, I started playing the organ, this keyboard. And I find that if I don't look at it and I just feel the music, I do better with it. And I decided to go ahead and record myself on my video, on a video. So one, I can hear it, and two, I could see it. Because I close my eyes so I don't see, it sounds kind of silly because I don't see myself. Well, of course you can't see yourself. But I don't see my surroundings. I get lost in the music. And I play how it makes me feel. And I have no idea what chords I'm playing. I have no idea where I'm at in the keyboard sometimes. And sometimes I find I'm way down too far or whatever. Or I'm too close together. I cross my fingers over. I cross my hands over. I'm still working on playing the black keys with the white keys. But it was something that I did. And I'm sitting there looking at the video and I'm going, well, for one, I'm in my camper. And I'm remodeling my camper. And I decided to redo my walls again in my bedroom. So my bedroom looks very disarrayed on the walls. And I've got a towel hanging up on my window because I don't have a curtain there. And so anyway, and I'm hair pulled up in ponytail, no makeup. And of course, and I say this is self-esteem. When I sit down, I look more like a pear than an avocado, I guess. And I'm like, well, I look really terrible. And I'm looking at myself in the video, and I'm talking, and my mouth is not keeping up with the video. I feel like a kung fu movie. And then those who used to watch kung fu movies or whatever back in the day, I would understand what I mean. So anyway, I'm like, this is terrible. Look at me. Oh my gosh. And I said, hold on a minute. What are you doing? This is exactly what's wrong with society. This is exactly what's wrong with America. This is exactly what's wrong with the world. This is what's wrong. I should not have to worry about the background of my surroundings. Obviously, unless nowadays personal information. I should not have to worry about whether I have makeup on, my hair done, if I look like an avocado, a pear, a banana, or even if I have to even look like a fruit. Maybe I look like a potato, or maybe I look like me. Why do I have to change that to represent myself as a presentation to people? To get what? To camouflage and try to be and represent myself in a way that I feel like is deemed to be okay by society? Why? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with being me? What's wrong with me being a real person? I am sitting in a camper. I take care of my mom. My mom is blind and bedridden. My dad passed away. I take care of my mom 24/7. I'm out in my camper. Excuse me, she's asleep. I come out here, play my music, do my podcast, whatever. My camper is being remodeled. I am one person. I am holding down the fort. I'm taking care of my mom, trying to take care of myself. I've got a million and one hypothetically, play with words, got a million and one things going on. I'm going to counseling. I'm going to my doctor's. I've got a pulmonary appointment. I got to have surgery done in a couple weeks on my nose and I found out, well, I cough and clear my throat all the time in my podcasts and stuff. My right side of my nose is collapsed. So I have to go in and have surgery on my nose. So I've got all this stuff going on, and I had 2 trees fall on my camper. Have nobody to help me fix it. So I'm out here trying to do this. I was working on my slide out because it was leaking and the floor was caving in. I finally got that floor fixed on my own, insulated it. Now I'm working on putting it back together. And then my bedroom, I'm redoing the wall in here because my roof was still leaking where the tree had fell on it. So I got this tarp halfway on it that the wind likes to blow off. I don't have a curtain on my window because, well, I don't have one on there right now because I need to buy one. But I make $2.60 an hour from the government to take care of my mother. So my funding is a little low. No here nor there. I'm sitting here with my hair pulled up. I'm in sweatpants and a t-shirt. And it's funny because my t-shirt says, I used to be a people person, but the people ruined it. But then people ruined it. And I have no makeup on. I'm sitting here in my socks and my slippers that are too big on my feet. And I'm so short that I'm sitting in my bed, and I am proud to say I have a step stool that I have to step on to get in my bed because I'm too short to get in my bed. I'm 5 foot half inch. But still, my bed is up off the ground. It's one of them adjustable beds. But this is my thing. And this is getting off subject, but it's not getting off subject because it all goes back to the same thing. You. Me. I'm a part of society. You're a part of society. Do you agree with society? Do I agree with society? I'm going to speculate. No, not all the time. Does that make it right or wrong? No. That means your opinion is different. Your thoughts are different. Your views are different. You are different. And you are entitled to be different. If we were all the same, we would be freaking robots. And I'm going to tell you what. Robots are getting out of hand. They have people that are making robots that look like people to be companions for other people. What is wrong with us, people? I am so, and I'm going to say this with respect to myself, I am so unworthy as a human being that I now need a AI intelligent replica of what I look like to play my part in life because I am not good enough to be me. So therefore, I need to be dictated, and I need to be tweaked, and I need to be critiqued and changed. And, here, if you don't like the way this person moves, this mask has got a magnet. Let's change it over. Now it can look like this person. Oh, hey, closeness, intimacy, human contact. No, we've got that covered. Here, you don't have to worry about getting this one pregnant. It's okay. It's all animated. What is wrong with us? I'm sorry. There's just something about being held by actual human being arms, by somebody that I love and care about, and laying up against their chest, hearing their heartbeat in my ear, that speaks more volumes to me as a human being than to maybe listening in the background, power low. Well, I hope that ain't in the midst of you getting some love and attention. I mean, please recharge. I've heard about all putting paper sacks over people's heads, but I mean, that's a little ridiculous. I don't like your face. I'm going to remove your magnet. I mean, this is what is wrong with us in this world. And I say it all the time. Our technology is our greatest asset and our biggest demise. Because we are so inclined to be codependently acceptable, to live through a technology, than to think that our own humanity, of our own human being self, our own God creation, our parent creation, is not good enough. This country has the lowest self-esteem, lowest self-worth that I'm going to say, if that is what we think is okay. And how are we allowing whoever is in charge of this big meeting of society How are they allowing this to be acceptable? How is that okay? What is wrong with being a human being? And on that, I'm going to get started on this. I don't know how much we're going to get done because we're already 30 minutes in here and I haven't even touched it. But yet I have touched it. So we're going to, and if anybody follows me on my podcast, you know I go off on my own. And you know what? I should be able to go off on my own because I can read whatever I want to off a computer. I can read whatever I want to off of a book or this, that, and the other, or how somebody else says something, this, and you know what? But I am entitled as a person, as a part of this world, this rotating ball of whatever. I am entitled to speak on my own. I don't need to have my voice manipulated. I don't need to have my appearance tweaked. I don't need to have my size proportioned or airbrushed. I don't need to be photoshopped. I don't need to be anything but me. And how I want to represent myself should be my prerogative. Who gives anybody the freaking right to tell me who I need to be? And that is where people's self-worth and self-esteem are disintegrated. And we wonder why. We wonder why we feel the way we do. I used to sit back and I was verbally abusive to myself. I self-harmed myself. I degraded myself. And I've even talked about it in my other podcast. I am a surviving suicidal victim. And by the grace of God and other things in my life, I am proud to sit here today in your ear because for the first time in my life, I don't want to purposely die because I have a purpose to live. I have never felt that in my complete life before, ever. When I was about 4 or 5 years old, I remember laying next to my mom. And I said, sometimes I wish I could take my head off and just shake it out and put it back on. What 4 or 5-year-old says that? I did. And I remember it. My mom remembers it. Her and I have had conversation about it. Why? At 4 or 5 years old, why would I have to feel that way? And it never got better. Until the day I finally chose not to. Because I did. I did hurt that much. I would write on my hand, worthless, stupid, not worth loving, not worth being with, fat, ugly, all kinds of words. Anything and everything. I'd write them on my hand, write them on my arms. Not worth marrying, not, all kinds of stuff. Who would want me? I would cry myself in the mirror, telling myself the same thing, reinforcing all of that pain, all of that reflection of how I felt my whole life. I was staring myself in the mirror, reinforcing that. And that was killing me. Because I believed it. I let society and life and my pain and my experiences and other people and any this, that, and the other, and whatever it was that played into the part of it, I let it sculpt me into the reflection that wasn't even my own, because I couldn't see my own reflection because it was clouded and blurred by everything else. I didn't even know what I looked like. And I looked at myself every day in the mirror. But I would stand in that mirror and I would cry to myself. And I would get really close to that mirror. Tears streaming down my eyes so hard. Couldn't breathe. Sometimes I was crying so upset. And you know what I do now? I catch myself when I start to do that. And I correct myself. I make faces at myself in the mirror and make myself laugh. I do little, if anybody knows me, my personality, I'm all over the place. I make little skits and little, whatever. Do little voice impressions and change my voice to, impersonations and whatnot. Because, I'm a hoot. But I like to make people laugh. I like to make people feel better about themselves. I am to the point where I'm trying to do that to myself. And I do positive reinforcement for myself. For every negative I have felt in my complete life, I am trying to counteract it into a positive reinforcement. And it might not be understandable to everybody else, but that's what the problem has been. I've been allowing people that don't understand me to make me feel like I need to be understandable. And even if they don't even know me. I'm a part of my own meeting. And sometimes I have meetings without myself, and I have to remind myself to go to my own meeting. And sometimes I have to stop myself because I don't even know what the hell I even just said or what happened. Because sometimes I multi-think, and I know that may sound crazy to people, but you know what? In some people's eyes, I am crazy. And you know what? So be it. I'm not for everyone. I'm trying to be for myself. And I'm trying to remind myself that I'm not a selfish person. I'm not selfish to want to be there for myself. I'm not selfish to say positive things to myself. I'm not selfish because I want something for me. I am not selfish. I am a good person. I am a kind person. I am a giving person. I am worthy. I am smart. I am educated. I am worth loving. I am funny. Sometimes I'm funny looking. If I take my teeth out, I look really funny because I can make all kinds of neat faces that way. I am me. I'm me. And I am a product of my parents. I'm a product of God. But I am a product of myself. Before I need to be a product of anybody else. Now, if I want to go in there and put makeup on and do my hair and change my clothes and, dress up or whatever, that's not because I'm saying, hey, society, I want to fit in. No, it's saying, hey, D, this makes me feel pretty. Hey, D, this makes me feel fun. Hey, this makes me feel good. Hey, I'm trying out something new. I'm trying to live and expand outside my comfort zone. Or, no, I'm trying to be respectful and have some morals. Or maybe I'm feeling a little sexy. My perception of my reflection doesn't have to look like you to be acceptable. And to make me feel worthy. And that is my opinion. Now we're going to get started. We're 40 minutes into this, and I probably will not finish through this. And that's okay, because you know what? I don't need to read from a piece of paper. I might just skim through this, because this is society, and this is a person's opinion, and all due respect to the author and the medical reviewer. It is all about how you feel, in my opinion. And I always say, you cannot always understand, know, respect, or acknowledge, or even be aware of the intentions that somebody has taken you. Like, I could say something, and I'm a jokester. I have a very warped sense of humor. I do. And I know this. My family knows this. Sometimes they want to act surprised. But when my mom lets her guard down, the apple don't fall far from the tree, okay? And my daughters are right beside it. So this is who we are. But how I present what I say and how it's received and felt may not always complement each other. I might be joking and say something, but the person that is on the receiving end, or a person that is an earshot per se, they don't even have to be the one I'm talking to, could take it a totally different way. One, either it reflects something that has to do with, near and dear to them or whatever, or guilty conscience, or they just take it wrong. They don't know how to take me. They, what? Everybody ever hear that point of, well, it wasn't what you said, it's the way you said it. I'm sorry. Or again, we would go with excuse and reason. It's not the way you said it, and it's not how you said it. Isn't that the same thing? The way you said it and how you said it? But it's what you said. And the way I heard it. Okay, well, if I said it a certain way and you heard it a certain way, then that's the way you took it, and that, therefore, what? See, it gets confusing. You want to play with the words, you want to fine-tune it, it's all right there. And is it a bad thing? No. Because everybody's perception is different. Everybody's feelings are different. Everybody's personal experiences, everybody's reflection. I'm going to use that word. Everybody's reflection is different. How I reflect to myself is not going to be how I'm reflected onto you. It's not going to be how you see me. You see me the way you see me, not necessarily the way I see me. So you might think, oh man, you got really beautiful curly hair, because I have natural curly hair. It's very thick. And if I don't take care of it and I don't get it and I let it air dry, it looks like Medusa and a big old boofy doo. And this is true information, in my opinion. Somebody's like, oh man, I love your hair. I've even had guys come up to me, can I touch your hair? It looks so soft. And I'm like, awkward, but okay. But, you're like, oh, I love your hair. It's such beautiful hair. You didn't know an hour before I came out, I'm going, I hate my hair. I hate this. I can't never get it fixed right. I'm just going to shave it off. I'm going to cut it off. I'm going to chop it off. I'm going to wear a hat. I'm just going to put it, I'm not going. My perception is totally different. I am very, I got bangs. I always have bangs. And I'm very, very particular about my bangs. And I am very, I will stand there for hours and try to fix my bangs if I feel like one piece of strand is out of place. And it's even gotten to the point where a piece will be sticking up, and I'm like, okay, you don't want to lay down? You're out of there, and I'll pluck it out. But the person that sees me wouldn't know all that. So while they might see somebody with really pretty curly hair, I'm in the mirror going, oh man, my bangs are messed up again. Perception is different. Feelings are different. But yet they're all the same. They're all the same because they're all different. Okay, we're going to play with that word. If it's the same but it's different, how is it the same? But yet if they're all the same, then how are they different? Because they couldn't be different if they're all the same. Yeah, kind of like that. Okay, we're going to try to at least go through the definitions because we're already 45 minutes in this. And like I said, if I don't finish this, that's okay, because I feel like my podcast isn't based off of things I find off the internet or information or researching or references or whatever. I am here for so many other things. I am not here to copy society. I am not here to degrade society. I am here to be a part of my life. It's up to me. But yet it's not, if society is a part of who I am. Because even if I try to protect myself and I look at myself in that mirror and I try to give myself positive reinforcement and I try to be all this positive outlook stuff, you think society is not quietly trying to seep in the pores of my skin, of my brain, of my mind, of my visions, of my hearing? I am influenced by what I hear. I'm influenced by what I see. I'm influenced by what I touch. I'm influenced by things I smell. I'm influenced by things that are around me. I'm influenced by things that I'm secluded from. I'm influenced by things I have no idea anything about. And I'm influenced by things that I know almost everything about. And I'm going to say almost everything because there's so much more to know. And you know why? Because nobody knows everything. How do I know that? I don't know. Just my opinion. I used to tell my daughter, and I probably ain't even going to get it to this paper. One time, my daughter, my youngest daughter, years ago, she used to always talk about how she was different. She didn't relate to the kids in school. She felt that they were really immature. And my daughter had to grow up very fast. She was friends with the teachers and the counselors and the workers in the office. And, she would have lunch at the teacher's table. And one of her really good friends and stuff that she had at school was one of the secretary of the office. And she used to always say, I'm different. And I dress different, I think differently, I look different, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, you know what? There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with the way you look. Nothing wrong with the way you are. People that are different, and I'm saying that with respect, people that are made to feel different, that are made to feel out of place, that are made to feel like a geek, or one that expresses themselves by ways of elaboration on body piercings or tattoos or colors of their hair or the way they dress or the way they present what society deems as normal and strange or different or not as socially acceptable, if you will. Those people are the ones that are creative. Those people are the ones that don't need to think outside of a box. They don't even care if there is a box. If they're going to create, they don't need a piece of paper. They don't need any type of mechanical tools. They have their mind. Creativity is not, and I'm saying this with respect, is not everybody. That's my opinion. But that does not mean that somebody else that is not as creative is not talented and creative in a different option. So somebody that, say, can draw beautiful art, and we're just for argument's sake, let's play with the words, okay? A beautiful person that does beautiful artwork, creativity. They're either a fashion designer, they're a tattoo artist, they're a hairdresser, they're, I don't know, somebody who builds houses, somebody who decorates homes, somebody who makes a clothing line, somebody who invents something, somebody that creatively does something creative. That is not verbatim by the books. That is not verbatim by the internet YouTube video. It is not verbatim on the standard operating procedure. They have their own vision. They have their own mind, their own eyes, their own perspective, their own justification. They have their own ability. And that is not a bad thing. That is a gift. That is a gift. I guarantee you want to stereotype somebody. Oh my gosh, look at that person's got so many tattoos. Oh, we can't let them work here. They need to cover their tattoos up. Can't have that on there. You got to wear long sleeves all the time. I don't care if it's 105 degrees. You got to have long sleeves on. You think somebody's going to care if a person has a freaking tattoo on their arm and they're out there in a freaking ambulance or in a fire truck or on a police or somebody who's going to save your life, a doctor or a nurse, somebody who's donating their organs? You think that they care if that organ donated, that person that is the other side of that organ donation has tattoos on their arms, has multicolored hair and 75 freaking piercings just on their face? You think that person is going to get that kidney on the recipient end gives a care? Oh, I can't have that. No, they got one too many tattoos for me. I don't want to be have the chance of being influenced by their organ and feel like I'm going to have to go out and get a tattoo now because I'm going to have part of their DNA through my blood, and it's going to seep down into my brain and make me feel like that I need to go do this because this is now they're a part of me and now I'm going to become a part of them. Really? And some people think that way. Is it right or wrong? Depends if you're that person. Depends if you want that life-saving organ and it matters to you whether or not they had a tattoo, a piercing, a rainbow-colored hair, whether they're gay, whether they're straight, whether they're short, tall, whether their butt hangs off the bed, or whether they don't have a butt, whether they have a leg, they don't have a leg, they have a nose, they don't have a nose. You know, maybe they're missing one eye, maybe they're blind, maybe they can't hear, maybe their parents are mourning them, their loved ones are mourning them, and trying to figure out how they're going to pay for their funeral. And they might not even have a funeral. And they're going to have to let the government put them in the ground in a cardboard box or something, whatever they do. Because it was a person. Their body is the canvas. The owner of that canvas is the one that does the masterpiece and a reflection of their creativity when they're allowed to be themselves. When they are told by society, or when they are made to feel like they are less worthy because of something somebody doesn't agree to, there's something wrong there. Because tables are turned. Let's say hypothetically, and I say this with respect, somebody has a problem with somebody with their sexual preference. And we're going to throw this one on there. Oh my gosh, I don't even want to talk. I can't be around that person. I don't want to change my clothes in front of them, man. They're gay. Okay, first of all, maybe you ain't all that in a bag of chips. All right? Just saying. Just putting that out there. To this person. Is that mean to say? Yeah, that sounds mean. To me, it sounds mean, and I said it. Or am I going to play with words and say it's being honest? I mean, you're not all that. But yet you're worthy. See the fine line there? Now let's say hypothetically, for argument's sake, you have a problem with somebody's sexual preference. First of all, I must say this with respect. Are you involved in it? Are you involved in there with that? I mean, are you doing the horizontal limbo with them? I mean, just saying. Are you a part of that activity? Is it flaunted in your face? Is it something that is, I don't know, have anything to do with you, really? I mean, I'm going to speculate no, for argument's sake. Let's just say no. Because this is my thing. If they are consenting adults, that's what's important. And, okay, so let's say somebody has a problem with somebody's sexual preference. And they have a very big issue with it. Now, somebody who is the recipient on the end of the prejudice judgment, if you will, maybe they don't like your opinion. Maybe you're a beautiful person, picture-wise, but you have the ugliest personality. Now, this person who, let's say, is on the recipient of somebody who is gay, they are more understanding on the perception of people and the representation of them based off of their own personal experiences and their stereotype of the things that they have had to overcome and continue to go through because of their preference, of their own identity. Their identity. Not your identity. Theirs. I don't care if you have the same freaking name or not. Their identity. You could be identical twins. One be gay and one not be, and I don't care. Your identity belongs to you. Now let's say the person that is on the end of being judged all the time looks at you like, I could say a lot of things right now about you. I could start nitpicking everything about you that I don't like, that I have a problem with. However, I'm going to be the bigger person and be more respectful because I know how it feels to be judged and made fun of. And I know what it feels like to lay in my bed at night and cry. Because I'm questioning my own self-worth and my self-identity and my own confusion and my own self-esteem and my own perception of who I'm trying to be as a person. I need to put on a facade and put on my human being facade costume so I can go out in society and be accepted. How is that okay? How do we think that is possibly okay? I don't know. Maybe we should all have a meeting and ask society. I'm okay. I don't need to have society speak for me. I don't need to have a meeting. I don't need to have input and influence, if you will, of drama, negativity, cruelty, vindictiveness, manipulating, all of the words you want to throw in there that sound mean, because I am hell-bent to hurt somebody's feelings. Why are we okay to make it our life adventure to want to hurt other people? We are so programmed to want to hurt other people and hurt ourselves and hurt this, that, and the other. And at the same time, excuse it by saying, damn society, man. It's that damn society again. Wake up, people. You are a part of that supposed to be society, because it takes one person to not attend that meeting. It takes one person to stand up in that meeting. That takes one person to say, you know what? I don't need to have a meeting to be a good person. I don't need to be in the same category as you. We are so programmed to segregate ourselves. And we are so programmed to manipulate each other that we think it's okay. Because we say it is. It's kind of like the Wizard of Oz. Everybody's going to this great wizard. Let's go find the wizard. He'll know what to do. Just to come out to find out that the wizard was just a common man with some kind of astral projector thing of his head floating around, and a fake voice that it was being manipulated by some type of machine, and he couldn't do anything more for you than what you could do for yourself, because he too was stuck. But he was acting like he was something he wasn't, to be powerful, to manipulate people, to control, to represent a community that didn't even know what he looked like. But yet, these complete strangers go to him for help because they are in such desperate need for their own self-worth and their own self-esteem, their own purpose. They are putting their whole being into something that didn't even exist. Something that was materialistic and fake. Technology. They put their life on the line for technology. thinking it was the cure for everything, when all they needed to really know and see and feel was themselves. Human being. Regardless of the differences of what they looked like, regardless of where they came from, regardless of what their purpose was and what they needed, it was real to them. Somebody needed a heart. Why? Because somebody told him he didn't have one? He was heartless? He was one of probably the most caringest people there. Told somebody he needed a brain. Why? Because his mind didn't look like everybody else's and didn't work like everybody else's? Because he was intelligent? And because he was smart and intelligent, he was made to have to play and feel like he's dumb? Because he's called stupid? Because somebody didn't understand him? Because he outsmarted somebody, per se? Because he might have learned differently than somebody else? Or you got somebody who was afraid and scared and needed courage to go on. Maybe that person has been through so much trauma and abandonment, and people always leaving them behind, or some kind of dramatic thing happening to them. Or maybe they didn't have any self-esteem, any self-worth, and so they had no courage to stand up for themselves. They didn't have no courage to be themselves. And then someone who was looking to go home, thinking home is a place, a building, whatever the perception of it was, wanted something that she took for granted. Her family, her loved ones, herself, the beauty of life, respecting her life. Then you have a mean old witch. Was she really mean? There was a house that landed on her sister. Somebody stole her sister's shoes. She wanted the shoes back. They belonged to her sister. The sister whose house fell on. And the person whose house fell on, the house belonged to the girl who had the stolen shoes on her feet. Given by a good witch who found it acceptable to steal the shoes, to put them on an innocent person who was a victim of their house landing, and now has been made to be a criminal because their house landed on somebody that killed them by accident. But because this good witch stole the shoes and gave them to the innocent girl, then therefore the innocent girl's life was in danger now by the bad witch, if you will, because she wanted her sister's shoes back that were stolen. And just so happened, the girl that had them, her house was the one that killed her sister. And the good witch controlled all the little people. Was she a good witch? She thought it was okay to steal somebody's shoes and put them on an innocent victim. And then if she was so powerful, this good witch, why did she send these people, or this girl, who now is going to be wanted by this bad witch and hunted, into a world of wherever, because she didn't know where the hell she was? She just got to follow this road that was yellow. What if somebody came along and decided, oh, hey, I like this yellow road. I want my road yellow. What if she would have went down the wrong way? She based her whole livelihood, her whole journey and safety, if you will, based off yellow bricks. Stay on the yellow bricks. You'll be safe. Oh, okay. Let's go then. I'm going to take the advice from a good witch who floats in the air in a bubble that stole these shoes off of a girl that died because my house actually fell on her. And you're going to send me out to Never Never World and Let me just stay on the yellow road, and I'm going to find this wizard that nobody's ever saw and knows, and he can send me home. Just for you to come back at the end and say, you had the power to go home the whole time. It was in your ruby slippers. First of all, they're not her ruby slippers. You stole them. Now, I'm not trying to belittle this show, this movie, but who's the good witch and who's the bad witch? Because the good witch is in white and floats in a bubble, and the bad witch is black with a green face and an ugly nose with a wart and rides on a broom and has flying monkeys and is upset because her sister got smashed and you stole her shoes, but yet she's the bad person? She wants justice for her sister. She wants her sister's shoes. What if her sister's shoes were a family heirloom? Does she ever get the shoes back? I don't know. Is that in part 2? I mean, and I understand it's a movie, but there's a purpose in the thinking and the mentality of the creativity of the storyline. Because some people might say, oh, this girl was on a house and a tornado came through and she went flying through the air and it landed into this world with a bunch of these, little people and stuff. And let's call them mumskins, let's stereotype and call them mumskins. And they are controlled because their God, if you will, all due respect, is the good witch, quotations, floating on a bubble. And they're all judgmental to the other witch that looks different. That doesn't have the nice fancy dress and the little magic wand and floating on a bubble. She's on a broom that she probably uses to clean her house. Doesn't matter. But everybody's coming in, oh, this girl, she fell in here. Oh, did anybody stop to think and consider about the witch that died? I mean, and this is the point. We are so backwards that we think that it is acceptable, and I'm using this hypothetically, we think it's acceptable for the one in the white dress and the floating bubble to be the good witch, and the victim, which was the bad witch, needed to be destroyed. She just wanted her sister's slippers back because she wanted justice for her sister. Her sister died, and somebody stole her belongings. And let's put our whole life in the hands of a wizard that nobody has ever saw. Nobody knows what he looks like. And we're going to assume that it's a he because dominancy of the male gender back in the day. And let's manipulate it with the voice and the projectional technology. So you got all these people whose lives are based off of what? They're based off of however you have perceived it. And maybe you didn't look at it the same way this time, thinking about it as you did before this conversation. Before you just thought, oh, it was a girl, it was a tornado, house flew in the air, landed. Sorry about your luck, witch. You're under the house. My bad. Take your shoes off. You melted. Again, sorry. Oh, there's a bad witch. She's ugly. She's green. She's got a wart on her nose. Oh, I'm scared. Oh, there's a floating bubble. She's going to save the day and tell me, follow the yellow brick road. You'll find the wizard. The wizard will send you home. And then the wizard wasn't a wizard at all. But along the way, you meet some friends. That's where it takes a twist. When you're not influenced by other people, and you're not manipulated, and you're yourself, and you meet people along the way, you make friends with them. You're understanding with them. You encourage them. You try to make them feel better. You try to be understanding and compassionate and caring and good. Oh, you're smart. You've got a brain. You've got the biggest heart I know. You got courage. You protected us. Me, I just want to go home. I just got these red little slippers on my feet that the good witch stole. She ain't gonna say that, but oh, and then they take the journey all the way there and they fight, battles and whatever. The dog gets stolen, I think. I don't know. Then you got these flying monkeys. Okay. And are they supposed to be bad? Monkeys, were they supposed to be bad? Why? Because they were protecting the witch? Because somebody killed her sister and stole her sister's belongings and wanted her dead. But they're the bad monkeys because they were what? Protecting her? And maybe she wasn't the nicest, but maybe she was misunderstood. And I saw the movie, what was it? The one about the story about the wizard and the witch. And it was telling the story how the wizard came to Oz and how the witch became the way she was. And if I remember correctly, the wizard and the witch had a relationship. And the witch, and I'm trying to remember it. I think this is the way it went. And the witch had a broken heart. I don't remember the whole story, but it turned her sad. I don't remember the whole story of it, but this might have just been a spinoff on somebody wanting to make money on a movie. I mean, obviously, but the perception and the now keep in mind, she goes through here, she makes these friends along the way. She doesn't know them. They're all different. She doesn't judge them. They all accept each other. They all become really good friends. And not a single one of them, besides her, even knew what really happened. They didn't know about the shoes being stolen. They didn't know the house being fallen on the witch. They didn't know about the good witch and what she looked like and the bad witch and what she looked like and what all happened and the little munchkins. They didn't know. All they were doing was basing it off of what she had told them. They weren't there. They don't know. Dorothy just told them. This is what happened. So then, based off of Dorothy's perception and opinion that she was influenced by the good witch, this is how she felt and the way she looked at the situation now. And because of that, then she transferred it on to these people that she just met and influenced their opinions. And then gave them hope that they're going to go find this mysterious wizard that nobody knows to get something that meant the world to them. To give them something that they needed so desperately and they cried for and they wanted so bad. And they were taking the word of this girl that they didn't know that it was going to fix everything. Just to find out they didn't need somebody in the first place. They just needed to believe in themselves. because the wizard ended up taking off in a hot air balloon. The good witch appeared saying, "Oh, you had the power the whole time." And what happened to the bad witch? She got killed. What did she do wrong? And she got killed. Depends on your perception on how you see that and how you take that. But also, too, how does it make you feel now? Just because somebody presents something a certain way, just because somebody says something because that's what they want you to believe and feel and think, doesn't mean it's true. Because sometimes in life, it is that one moment, that one person, that one whatever that makes you believe in you. And if people think that they need to make you feel and believe otherwise, without looking at their own reflection, don't make fun of them. Don't put them down. Don't belittle them. Educate them. Pray for them. Show them exactly the beautiful masterpiece that you are. Be you. Be you. Everything else will fall into place. And when I say be you, that's where the journey begins. That's where your journey begins. And I know that sometimes people think they need to stay on the road because they need to have it outlined out. It needs to be structured. It needs to be drawn in. It needs to be defined. It needs to be Googled. Make your own path. Using people that built roads because there was a road built there? No, they had to have a vision. They had to see it. They had to logically plan it out. They had to think about it. They had to construct it. They had to analyze it. They had to justify it. They had to get it approved. Then the road was created. That's the difference between construction and life. Because you have construction in the world, and it seems like the world's always under construction. I go down the same damn road all the time, and they're working on it again. It looks the same as before they started it. It's always under construction. It must be. I always say, it must be election year. Your life is always under construction, if that's the way you want to look at it. Or you can look at it differently and say, I'm a work of art. Or, I have no freaking clue. I'm just winging it as I go. Or, I don't even see a road. Who needs a road? I'm going to walk right through here and make my own path. Have you ever been through places that don't have roads and like if you're going hiking or whatever, people go off the beaten path, And then you see these the grass or the weeds or whatever, and they're like, it looks like there's like a line drawn through it, like a path. Because people have walked through there so much, they pretty much have made their own embedded path that way. It's because one person decided to make and go off the trail of the road. They went and veered off their own way, and other people followed. They didn't go to the road. They went to uncharted territory, the unknown. They followed somebody's path that they didn't even know where it went, who they were, what the purpose was. But now this was going to be their journey. And whether they stayed on that path or not was still to be yet determined. They might accidentally fall. They might accidentally run into a dead end. There might be a big old cliff. Or it could be a whole new adventure beyond the technology. Humanity, mankind, God's creation, miracles, the real world. Human beings that still exist in this world, that don't need to be fabricated to be real. And we're not going to get to this paper, and that's okay with me. We'll do it in another podcast. Because this is straight up me talking. And I always say, I need to be in my own audience. I am trying very, very, very wholeheartedly to rebuild me. And I'm going to say it in a different perspective. I am a blessing box. I am rebuilding my life. I always say you have to fall completely apart in order to know where to put yourself back together. And it's up to you on what pieces you want to put back in what areas. But that's not always true. It's not always true. But sometimes in life is a blessing box. You take what you need, but don't steal what you don't. Because somebody out there, it could be a matter of life and death for them. Don't be selfish. Be human. Leave the selfishness to people that make the robotic technology of people, because they are being selfish human beings, thinking that it's okay for somebody to replace an actual human being, and that is more acceptable because it's programmed to tell you what you want, even if it's not true. And technology is only as smart as the operator between the mouse and the keyboard. Because I guarantee Google don't know everything. Half the time Google don't even understand. And Google ain't even, I'm going to tell you, there's bigger stuff out there than Google. I make cracks on Google all the time. And Google has got its pluses. But I don't need I need real. I need real. If I want to have make-believe, I'll leave that up to, making stories up, or maybe I'll write a storybook or produce a movie if I want to make fabrication of fantasy. That's where people that have been creative have been damned their whole life for being creative and using their minds to create. So let's not be creative, people. We're going to build technology so you cannot be smart and creative anymore. We're going to be creative and make fake creativity, because human creativity, well, that's not normal. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. And, you know, unfortunately, though, all jokes aside, somebody's self-worth and self-esteem goes far more than realization could ever take somebody. Because when somebody's self-worth and self-esteem is made to feel that it is acceptable to have something to replace it because they're not worthy enough to be themselves, it does something to somebody. And people struggle. And like I said, I'm a surviving suicidal victim. People struggle. It's a real thing. And it's no joke. It's no action movie. There's no yellow brick road to follow down to some land of whatever to be made to go to sleep with poppies. Okay. If you eat too many poppies, you're going to flunk a drug test. So, I mean, were they made to relax with poppies? I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends what state you live in, right? 988 is a suicide prevention helpline. It is real. And if you are suffering through anything, I pray that you realize that you do not need a mirror to be beautiful, inside and out. Because being you is the most beautiful thing to exist in this world. And you don't need a piece of machine. You don't need a society or technology or fabrication or a face mask. Because you are perfect, just the way you are. Embrace you. Counteract all that negativity. People wanting to fire negativity shots at you and mean things and all that stuff, self-destruction on you. You counteract that with your positive shield. People want to be all up in games and technology. Activate a safety shield. You might just be surprised. You know what? It's not a matter of being surprised. It's a matter of just feeling at all. And it not hurting. And on that, I'm going to close out. And I hope that everybody finds some way to realize that if we leave it up to everybody else to tell us what kind of mirror we're supposed to look at, we might just find ourselves at an amusement park with all the different mirrors and you don't know how to get out. because they all look the same. Learn your own reflection. That's going to be one of the most beautiful journeys in your life, I feel like. And you don't need no magic slippers. All you need is just to take that one step forward. And if you fall, lay down, take a union break, and enjoy the view. Because sometimes appreciating your surroundings is just as important as your journey of the unknown. You don't need to know where you're going. You just got to respect the fact that you're here. My opinion. And I'm teaching myself this. And on that